Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency. I'm Agatha May, and this is our second episode in the Elena Moore case. Before we start, I want to thank all of my paid subscribers for supporting the channel. I couldn't do this without you, and I mean that literally. Here's what YouTube estimates that I'll get paid for ad watches on my videos for the month, so it's not exactly paying the bills. If you'd like to financially support the channel, there's a link in the description box. Even the $3 level will help me keep doing what I'm doing. Now on with the episode. In the last episode, I mistakenly said that the Lexington County Sheriff's Department had turned the case over to SLED, but it was actually the Lexington Police Department. Elena's estranged husband, Brannon, hadn't worked for them, but more than likely worked with them in his job as a private investigator for law agencies. And I say agencies because the address on the original LLC filing for Slice Investigations was for Kent Collins Law Firm. Speaking of the LLC, there have been some people wondering why Elena's name was on it as the agent and suggested that perhaps Brannon couldn't get one in his own name. Well, the agent on an LLC is just someone with an address who can receive mail for the company. At the time, Elena and Brannon used the same address. So just because her name was on the LLC as the agent doesn't mean that she had anything to do with the company or that Brannon couldn't get one in his own name. However, they are both listed as the managers of the LLC, which does mean that Elena was supposed to be helping out with the business. There's been a whole lot of talk about what did or didn't happen during the initial stages of the investigation, so I want to read the information that the Lexington PD put out there. The following was posted on June 15th, 2026. Quote, Chief Terrence Green is requesting the assistance of the town of Lexington community in bringing Elena Catherine Moore, age 39, home safely. Miss Moore was reported as a missing person on Friday, June 12, 2026. According to the complainant, Miss Moore frequently visits Planet Fitness at 560 Whiteford Way. Further investigation revealed that she had signed in at that location on Thursday, June 11, 2026, at approximately 6:40 p.m. No further contact with the missing woman has been reported. Miss Moore was last seen walking away from Planet Fitness toward the wooded area behind Lowe's Home Improvement store. She was wearing an olive green zip-up hoodie with black athletic pants. Officers deployed and circulated a drone in that region with negative results. Miss Elena Moore is described as a white female, 5'7" in height and approximately 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. There is no known vehicle in her possession, and it is unknown if she has her cellular telephone. Information that Miss Moore had been located was reported earlier. Unfortunately, these were false reports, and the Lexington Police Department apologizes for any confusion this may have caused. At the time of this press release, Miss Moore is still missing. End quote. They released an update later that day. Quote, Chief Terrence Green wishes to provide the town of Lexington community with several updates in the case of Elena Catherine Moore. Miss Moore still remains a missing person since Friday, June 12, 2026. Miss Moore was last seen walking away from Planet Fitness at 560 Whiteford Way toward a wooded area behind Lowe's Home Improvement store. She was wearing an olive green zip-up hoodie with black athletic pants. Officers deployed and circulated a drone in that region with negative results, along with a preliminary check of the woods. On Monday, June 15, 2026, numerous officers from the Lexington Police Department performed a detailed search of the wooded areas along Kaufman Farm Lane, behind the Lowe's Home Improvement store and Planet Fitness gym. This was not a recovery operation, but rather a precise effort to rule out one less place Miss Moore could be. Then he went on to mention all of the entities involved and ended with, no trace of Miss Moore was found during the operation. On June 16th, this was released. Quote, the Lexington Police Department continues to seek the assistance of the town of Lexington community in the case of Elena Catherine Moore. Miss Moore remains a missing person since Friday, June 12, 2026. Recently obtained camera footage shows Miss Moore walking through the Publix parking lot at 100 Old Cherokee Road on Thursday, June 11, 2026. Camera footage captures her walking in the direction of Old Cherokee Road at 9:17 p.m. She was wearing that same olive green zip-up hoodie with black athletic pants as reported from Planet Fitness. Investigators are releasing new photographs of Miss Moore to increase the likelihood that someone realizes or remembers they encountered Elena in the past few days. Photographs were captured on a front door camera a week prior to Elena being reported as a missing person. End quote. And on June 17th, they made this statement, quote, Chief Terrence Green updated the town of Lexington community on new developments related to the case of a missing woman during a press conference this afternoon. The Lexington Police Department received a tip from the community that Elena Catherine Moore had been seen in the area of North Lake Drive and Old Cherokee Road on June 11, 2026. Officers and fire personnel began an extensive search of the wooded areas on Old Cherokee Road at 1:30 p.m. today on June 17th. At approximately 2:48 p.m., an unidentified body was found within the area. The clothing description matched that of Miss Moore. The Lexington Police Department has requested the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division to proceed with this death investigation. End quote. Now, back on June 12th, the PD posted this on their Facebook page at 3:17 p.m. It states that Elena was last seen at CVS. And here's the police report that was filed by Brandon Moore on June 12th at 9:58 a.m. The report was written by Sergeant R. Walker. Quote, I was advised that there was an individual in the PD's lobby that wished to file a report for a missing person. Upon arrival, I made contact with the complainant/victim. He stated that his wife, the listed subject, had been released from Redacted on June 11, 2026, prior to 1400 hours. Redacted had provided a cab for the subject, which stopped at her request at the IL, which is the CVS. That was the last time the subject was seen by the cab driver, who had attempted to make contact with her within the store after she had not returned outside. The victim stated that the subject had been known to frequent the area of Planet Fitness and was able to make contact there. A Planet Fitness employee advised the victim that the subject's information had been used to sign in at that location at approximately 1838 hours on the 11th. After those incidents, no one has had further contact with the subject. End quote. So did the PD have the last place that she was seen at CVS because at the time they didn't know that Elena had actually been at Planet Fitness, just that someone had used her information to sign in? I'm guessing that perhaps it took a day or so before Planet Fitness provided the camera footage to police. We know now that the redacted place that Elena was released from is Three Rivers Behavioral Health. There have been various versions of how Elena ended up at Three Rivers, but the only information I've seen is that she was voluntarily there. However, what if she wasn't? What if she was there on an emergency 72-hour hold? If she was admitted on Friday night, her 72-hour time wouldn't start until Monday, because in South Carolina, weekends don't count as part of the 72 hours. So if her time began on Monday, her being released on Thursday the 11th wouldn't be out of the scope of possibility that it was a 72-hour hold. I'm just throwing out the scenario as an idea. It's just a theory, not anything concrete. From what I've found, Three Rivers isn't the best mental health facility. In fact, it's so bad that I might have to make a separate episode just about it. So let's look again at the footage at the apartments.
Hey. You mind if I take a picture of it? Oh, yeah. You can take that one. I just want to take a picture of the door. Thank you. Oh, shit. Just deliver it out?
So this was on June 4th. In my last video, I mistakenly said it was on the 5th, and that was because Lexington PD said it was a week before she went missing. And just so everyone knows, these apartments are behind the Planet Fitness where Elena was the night she disappeared. They're also directly behind the FBI field office. So first of all, she looks overheated. Her face is flushed. So did she come straight from a workout? And she's also breathing hard. I know a friend of hers mentioned a heart disorder, so was she having a physical issue at this time? I'm not sure I believe she was mentally gone. From what I see, she looks more like she was looking for someone or expecting the person at the door to know who she was and why she was there, more than just handing them a bag of food. And when she's looking at the receipt, she says, "Oh shit," and then something like, "He'll want to see that." So is he the John Moore who lived at the apartment? And after she had started to walk in and then step back out, she looked at the apartment number like she was double checking to make sure that that was the one she was supposed to be at, and then pretended like she was going to go back down the stairs. And she seems to be looking down at her phone, so was that just part of the cover up to make it look like she was just delivering food? Or was she double checking information on her phone? And then when John shuts the door, she looks at it like she was confused about him not knowing who she was. So, was she expecting someone else? And if so, who? Ashley Banfield released the audio of a radio exchange between Lexington County EMS and Lexington Hospital at 10:41 on June 4th, with the idea that the patient they were transporting could have been Elena. So they're transporting a female patient they describe as being approximately 30 years old and refer to the chief complaint as a Signal 12. Well, Ashley said that a Signal 12 was suicidal, but I don't think that's correct. Mostly because right after that, the EMT states there's no SI or AI, which would be suicidal ideation or attempt/intent. So, according to what I could find about the South Carolina EMS, a Signal 12 would be an avulsion, which is when an appendage or skin is torn away from the body. But the South Carolina Highway Patrol uses Signal 12 as no information. So I'm thinking this Signal 12 in this case could be that they had no information about the patient. And no one is sure that it was Elena. The EMT stated the patient was responding to internal stimuli and heavy on paranoia. So I didn't see that in the footage of Elena at the apartments. And when the couple who lived in the apartment, John Moore and Sarah Burleson, were interviewed, Sarah said when she saw Elena later that evening, she seemed confused. She didn't say that she was acting crazy or hearing voices, just confused. So, how did Elena end up at Three Rivers? There have been rumors that Elena's vehicle was parked at Lowe's when she was admitted to the hospital and that Brannon had it towed. But there hasn't been any official release from law enforcement or any news agency that I've been able to find that corroborates that. But if we revert back to the theory that she was involuntarily committed on a 72-hour hold, then it's more than likely her vehicle was somewhere in that area. Speaking of that area, I think it's interesting that Brannon told police that Elena had been known to frequent the area of Planet Fitness. He didn't say she had a membership there, but just that she was known to frequent that area. So if Elena did frequent that area, did she know someone who lived at the apartments? And how did he know when she'd been released from the hospital and that she had taken a cab from there to CVS? If she was no longer living with him, how did he know she was missing? There is a lot more to cover in this case, but I'm going to stop here, mostly because my brain is finished for now. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Please like, comment, and share so more people can learn about Elena's case. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember to wash behind your ears.